Madam Chair, there's an Alice in Wonderland quality to this hearing. Have you guys ever heard of Australia? Mm-hmm. Australia's natural gas has a vast capacity. They started exporting in a big way about 10 years ago. Their prices doubled for their consumers between 2015 and 2018. The one law that this Congress cannot repeal is the law of supply and demand. And the number of LNG terminal applications now approaches 50 or 60% of the total production in this country. And you're telling me it's not going to affect domestic prices? That doesn't pass the straight face test. You cannot argue that a dramatic increase in demand caused by LNG exports is not going to affect domestic prices. You said it was $2.50 in Henry Hub the other day. In Australia, 10 years ago, it was about $3 a million BTUs. Today, it's $8, $9, and $10. And they're talking about looming shortages of natural gas in one of the countries that has one of the great natural gas resources on Earth. For the Department of Energy to continue issuing these permits, which under the law are supposed to take into consideration the public interest, without even doing, as I understand it, a recent study of what the elasticity of demand is and what the effect of prices, I think is utterly irresponsible. I'm not opposed to all exports of natural gas. All I want is some analysis of what the effect would be on domestic prices, and not warm, fuzzy assurances, don't worry, we're always going to make more. That hasn't happened in Australia, and I realize there's some differences about West and East Coast, but the bottom line is you cannot tell me we're going to drastically increase the demand for a product and its price to the local consumers is not going to increase. And if we get to a place where natural gas prices are internationally set as a commodity like oil, we're sunk. Natural gas prices in this country right now are one of our major competitive advantages, if not our most major competitive advantages in terms of our industry, in terms of our consumers. To give that away to any country in the world, it just strikes me as totally outside the idea of what is in the public interest. Can you assure me that the Department of Energy is going to take seriously its public interest responsibility in making this kind of analysis?
Yes, Senator, I can assure you of that, and we have.
When was the most recent time you did a study of the implications of exports of natural gas?
We did a study last year. It was the 5th study that was done. The preceding 4 studies were done in the previous administration, and all of those studies, all 5 of those studies, concluded that the overall economic benefit to the United States was a net positive. That the price of natural gas was not going to increase. When you talk about Australia, and you referenced it, to a large degree, that's an infrastructure issue, getting the natural gas from the producing centers to the demand centers. With respect to
where are we now in terms of approved LNG projects vis-a-vis total natural gas production?
Right now, we have we're exporting about 4 billion cubic feet a day of natural gas. We are producing about 90 billion cubic feet a day. We have total capacity of about 6.5 billion cubic feet a day. So 6.5 out of 90 is 6%, 7%.
If you can assure me or will accept an amendment or a law that says we won't go above 6.5% or 7 or 8, or I remember hearing where we said 9, I'm happy. But that doesn't seem to be the direction we're headed in, because the number of LNG terminal applications that are in the queue go way beyond 6.5, right?
Well, we have approved 33 billion cubic feet right now.
So you've approved 33 billion feet, so we're already 5 times where the 6 that you just mentioned.
Well, most of that has not reached final investment decisions, so we have 4.
Yeah, but we have to look beyond next week. If you've approved 33, total production is 90, so you've now approved LNG exports of 30% of the total production in the country.
But we don't stop at 90. EIA projects that by 2040 we're going to be up at 111 billion cubic feet per day. And as I talked about earlier, we're just climbing the learning curve on unconventional oil and gas production in the United
How many
States.
million BTU per day are in the queue? You say 33 have been approved. How many are in the queue?
Right now, we have 14 BCF a day that is either in operation or under construction.
How many are applications are pending?
There are 11 billion cubic feet of applications at FERC.
So 33 plus 15 plus 11.
No, I'm sorry, no. It'd be in total, right now, there are 44 billion cubic feet of in construction that we have approved and FERC. That's a grand total, 44.
Well, I have a hard time accepting that you're going to go to almost 50% of production in a new market, and it's going to have no substantial effect on consumer prices. I hope we can continue this discussion, but this is of grave concern to me. I think we're making a historic mistake unless we put some controls, some limit based upon science and data on this trend toward what appears to me to be unlimited export of natural gas. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Happy to send the report to you.
Thank you.